What is your name?
My name is Nathan Lowe.
What's your hometown?
I grew up in Post Falls.
And your home parish?
I would say the Cathedral of Our Lady of Lourdes.
Which seminary are you currently attending?
I'm going to Mount Angel Seminary in St. Benedict, Oregon, which is near Salem.
And where did you go to college before entering seminary?
So I entered seminary out of high school, and then I took some time off seminary, and I finished my degree at Gonzaga, and then I entered back into seminary, into theology.
Great. And what's your favorite hobby and why?
I like fishing. It's nice. Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec says, I like fishing. It's like yoga, except you get to kill something, which I think is true. You can kind of sit in the quiet and pray and just fish, and it's nice.
Great. How about your favorite book and why?
I'd say my favorite book is Dune. I just reread it before the movies came out, and I really like the characters and the drama, and there's so much like universal lore and how it's written is just really interesting to me. So,
And how about your favorite film and why?
my favorite movie is called Whiplash. It is a movie about a drummer, and he goes to this university for music, and his music teacher is a very intense man, and it's kind of this psychological horror movie, and I really like the characters. It's not a very fun watch, but it's very interesting how they bounce off each other and all the consequences that come from that really strained relationship. Mm-hmm.
How about your favorite music artist and why?
I really like Lord Huron, which is a kind of like an indie folk kind of band I'm recently into. And yeah, so they've got a few albums coming out, one coming out in a few months, and looking forward to that.
What was your first job?
I worked as a fry cook at Carl's Jr. in Post Falls. It was a great job for the summer,
And what is your favorite state in the union besides Washington and why?
I gotta say Idaho, because I was born in Spokane, but I grew up in Idaho, and North Idaho is really beautiful, and I've got a lot of fond memories there. And you got the potatoes, you got the people, and the country is great. So,
How about least favorite food and why?
I had an experience with pickle juice when I was a young man, and I almost threw up. It wasn't great. So pickles have kind of haunted me ever since. So I know there's a lot of pickle enjoyers, but I'm not one of them, unfortunately.
What's your confirmation saint and why?
Confirmation saint is Saint Francis Xavier. At the time, I was discerning the priesthood, and he was a Jesuit missionary in the 16th century that really set the world on fire, just like St. Ignatius was saying, and he died at a young age. And I aspire to preach the gospel like him, hopefully one day.
In your opinion, what's the best liturgical season and why?
I enjoy ordinary time. All the other seasons have their place, but I like the smooth, kind of quiet, enjoying the resurrection and in a normal setting. I think the other seasons get a lot of stress and a lot of commotion, and I just kind of like the quieter time when we can stay with our Lord in that time.
Great. Who has been one of the most influential people in your life?
My grandfather just passed away just a few months ago, and he was a really great man, very generous and loving, and yeah, he was just somebody that I aspired to be. He was a moral person. He loved Christ, and he was a good Catholic. And yeah, that was a hard loss, but I think he's definitely praying for me up in heaven, and I hope we'll see him soon. So hopefully.
How about who's someone that has been influential in your patient journey thus far?
Father Eugene Tracy, he's a retired priest in our diocese who's in residence at our cathedral. He was my formator, my formation director, basically. He's the priest that's assigned to each seminarian when they enter seminary, just to kind of talk through things and work on some stuff. And so ever since then, he's always been very supportive of me. And when I left seminary, he was a really big reason why I came back into seminary. after a while, just encouraging, and we've become very good friends over the years, and I really look up to him. I want to be a priest like him someday.
What has been one of your favorite experiences at the seminary to date?
Yeah, there's a lot. It's a community of men that from all different walks of life have come together for the same reason, following our Lord, whether in priesthood or whatever happens. But I've made some just really, really wonderful friends over the years in seminary, and really virtuous friendships, and kind of like Aristotle was talking about in his writings. And I've got two buddies specifically at Mount Angel that I've just grown really close to. So I would say that's kind of my favorite aspect.
What has been a challenging experience in seminary?
It's similar. There's a lot of guys, and they come from, like I said, different walks of life. And there's conflicting personalities. And while it's difficult, but it's also it helps us grow. It's kind of like a rock tumbler where it just it's like stones, make them more smooth, through the rough, and not too rough, but just, living together is hard. And I've grown to enjoy it, but it's, not the easiest thing in the world.
What are you looking forward to when you return to seminary?
So I'm going into one of the later years in seminary, Configuration 3, and we're kind of getting to the point in our classes where we're doing a lot of practical aspects of life, and not just in how to preach, but also just how to live as a man who's dedicated his life to the Lord in this very specific way in the priesthood, and a lot of spiritual direction classes and very different aspects of. We have a sex and marriage class, moral theology class coming up, and I'm looking forward to getting into some of that other things. So those classes.
Great. Could you just share an experience where you encountered Jesus at seminary in this last year?
Yeah. There was a moment that was difficult. Sort of a tragic thing happened in my family, and I just kind of noticed in prayer, just really this warmth of our Lord, just consoling me. And it's hard sometimes to find that. A lot of times the spiritual life is sort of an up and down sort of thing. And it was just really a moment of, we can sometimes take our sufferings and we can bring them to our Lord who's on the cross, just asking for us to just love him as he loved us, and just kind of unite those sufferings to him. And it was just a really beautiful moment, and definitely is been something I've been praying about more and more, just like a fruit of the spiritual life as I continue in seminary.
Great. All right, that's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.